going to Silver Age Comic-Con. Alright, let's talk about Twin Peaks, Season 1, 2, 3, and Fire Walk with me. For starts, this video is kind of for my buddy Travis, who passed away 1 year ago. He was always trying to get me to watch Twin Peaks, and I finally did it after the fact, unfortunately, and it turns out that I actually genuinely like the show, for the most part. We'll get into Season 2. This is kind of a tribute to him, and also because I want to talk about Twin Peaks. I think it's a fantastic show, for the most part. So we'll start with Season 1, make our way up to Season 3, and Fire Walk with Me will be the last that we review. So, Season 1 pretty much starts out setting up the death of Laura Palmer, and then sets up the world of Twin Peaks. It goes into all the introduction throughout the characters that'll be throughout the series pretty much. Characters like Agent Cooper, Leland, Sarah Palmer, Maddie, who is Laura's cousin, who's identical to her, Laura's friend Donna, and James, Ben Horn, Audrey, Harry, Andy, Hawk, Lucy, Bobby. There's so many characters. So many characters to get through that I will genuinely be sitting here for like an hour listing all the characters. A lot of these characters return for Season 2 and 3 for the most part, with minor roles. Now, the cast themselves, or the characters themselves, are kind of very awkward in some cases. Like, Agent Cooper is very, like, pippy, and Audrey wants to be this, like, detective, and James has no personality or characterization at all, which is really interesting. But yeah, a lot of the characters are weird and quirky. For instance, one of the characters says, "There's a fish in the percolator." It's like great lines like that, and that character throughout the series, he's a great character as well. I don't believe he actually returns for Season 3. The character that says that, I'm drawing a blank. Oh my god, who cares? The story of Twin Peaks is kind of a lie. It presents this, it's gonna be a story about Agent Cooper and Harry and Hawk solving the mystery of Laura Palmer's murder. Who killed Laura Palmer? That couldn't be farther from what the show is actually about. That is an underlying thread that goes through up until a certain point in Season 2, and we'll get to Season 2. But it's more about the characters and dealing with their loss and things that come after and stuff like that. Like, there's like a lot of undercover detective work. There's a prostitution lounge. There's drug trafficking in Twin Peaks. There's a lot of things kind of going on. It's that, and then character studies about different relationships between the characters, how they evolve, how they change, attempted murders, stuff like that. And who is Bob? With some supernatural elements to it. There's a lot of supernatural things in Twin Peaks throughout the entire series, but it starts to creep up in Season 1. Like, it introduces this place called the Red Room, and the Giant, and the Arm, and the One-Armed Man, and Bob, and it kind of goes into this like supernatural element, but it's never like overbearing to the plot. It's just kind of there very subtly, and it builds up to by Season 3. And I think it was done really well. You could have totally botched something like that. And with Twin Peaks, it really didn't. It works. And it almost works as like, oh, this is why the world's so weird, if you really want to look into it. But, some more like of the supernatural aspect, like Hawk and the Log Lady. The Log knows all, by the way, just throwing that out there. Hawk is Native American. The Log Lady has this log that is apparently sentient. But they are aware of the spiritual, supernatural things that are going on. Also, the sergeant, I forget his name. Sorry, unscripted. He is also really aware of the supernatural stuff, and he's actually actively a part of it. it starts to seep in with like Cooper. The supernatural elements are trying to like fold Cooper in. And yeah, I think it's really good, and I think it works well. And then again, to harken back, we have areas like the Bang Bang Bar and One-Eye Jack's, and then drug trafficking of cocaine. One-Eye Jack's is like this prostitution place, and the Bang Bang Bar's kind of like this scummy bar where you could buy drugs, and it's a lead up to kind of the One-Eye Jack's, and it's really interesting set locations. So the season ends on a cliffhanger. Agent Cooper gets shot, and we don't know who it is. And that's a really good cliffhanger leading into season 2. Season 2 kind of opens with the Red Room and the giant, and the owls are not what they seem. Some of the more like commonplace things that we know of when it comes to like Twin Peaks as far as quotes go. Agent Cooper lives, and all of season 2 is kind of figuring out, who shot, Agent Cooper, with all of this other stuff going on. And I'm not going to get into spoilers. I should have prefaced this too much. The problem with season 2, it starts really strong. Supernatural elements coming into play, relationships, all of this. It's great. And then ABC pretty much told David Lynch and Mark Frost, hey, you guys need to solve the murder of Laura Palmer. It was never supposed to be solved. And ABC said, figure it out. Do it. So, unfortunately, they solved the murder. I'm not upset at who the murderer turns out to be. I guess spoiler, even though I just said no spoilers. It's Bob. Bob, the supernatural entity, but I won't specifically call out who Bob's possessing until maybe Fire Walk With Me. There, spoiler warning for Fire Walk With Me. But it's Bob. Bob killed Laura Palmer. The mystery solved. It's supernatural. It's great. And then season 2 takes a nosedive. There's an assassin trying to come after Agent Cooper. There's more drug trafficking. There's weird grooming happening of a high school student. And you could tell like David Lynch and Mark Frost, like they fucked off. They were done because ABC wanted to solve the murder. They didn't want to. They left. I think David Lynch was filming Wild at Heart. And it sucks because there is a huge chunk of season 2 to me that is completely unwatchable. It's a mess. Lucy trying to figure out who's going to be the father of her baby. Like, who gives a shit? It was bad, terrible, but David Lynch did come back for, I think it was like the final couple of episodes in season 2 and kind of steered it on course. Season 2 ends strong with another cliffhanger. Bob possesses another individual who I have to spoil. It's Agent Cooper. And that's where we get into season 3. Season 3 picks up 25 years after season 2. Bob possessed Cooper in the Red Room, or made a doppelganger of, it's kind of like doppelganger, but possessed him. It's all over the place. Anyways. And that's what's in season 3. 25 years Bob, or Evil Cooper, has been going around and fucking doing a bunch of horrible shit, being a fucking menace. Meanwhile, Cooper, Good Coop, has been stuck in the Red Room this whole time. Well, 25 years passed, and there's like a certain thing where it's like, if you're possessed, you have to stay in the Red Room for 25 years. I don't know. There's someone smarter than me that completely dissects that. Go watch their shit. But it's time for Good Cooper to come back. Uh-oh, there's a problem. Good Cooper can't return to his body because of a doppelganger. So, Good Cooper ends up possessing the body of Dougie, who is the clone of Cooper. And most of the series is pretty much Good Cooper in Dougie's body as kind of like simple. He's a simpleton, which is great for hilarity. And you finally get Cooper proper in like the last 2 episodes, which is fine. There's hijinks ensue, all of this that's going on. Season 3 introduces new characters like Diane, who in season 1 and 2 was constantly making audio recordings too, talking about the case and stuff. There's a whole plot point around Diane and her relationship with Cooper, good and bad. And it goes into like the rotting of Twin Peaks, like the evil is completely taken over. Twin Peaks is a shithole. There's murder all the fucking time. It's a terrible place to live. And the episodes, look, David Lynch and Mark Frost had way more freedom to do whatever the hell they wanted. And the episodes end up being really long and drawn out. Essentially, season 3, in a nutshell, is good Cooper needs to defeat bad Cooper, aka Bob, finally, for good. But with twists, turns, supernatural elements more in the forefront, and it's slow, but it's good. I mean, it's almost like comedic how slow it is. But, you know, the supernatural aspects in season 3 work really well. The giant, who is renamed the Fireman, it's kind of like elaborated and explained that he lives in kind of a dream world, and he dreams, and these dreams can create souls or seeds that can make doppelgangers or people. I don't know. There's someone more intelligent that has completely dissected that. And that all works. Now, I have to touch upon episode 8. So each one of these episodes is over an hour long. I am not a huge fan of David Lynch films, but there are two things that David Lynch has made film-wise that I think truly are incredible. Fire Walk With Me, which we'll get to, and episode 8 of Twin Peaks season 3. The introduction of Lilith, the birth of Bob through the atomic bomb, Laura Palmer's soul being in a bug, the Huntsman. It's truly fantastical, abstract, and terrifying. And I think it is one of the greatest things David Lynch has ever fucking made, period. It is fantastic. So all of this leading up to the finale, I won't spoil the finale of season 3 and ultimately the series finale. I think it was done really well, lovingly, and I really enjoyed it. Especially the supernatural elements, just kind of like expanding on that. The dream, you know, we're living in a dream type of shit. Now, before we round everything out, we got to talk about Fire Walk With Me. Fire Walk With Me came out shortly after season 2 ended, and it is a prequel to Laura Palmer / the Cooper, the FBI story plotline, the Lilith plotline, the Blue Rose plotline, however you want to fucking interpret it, for like the first like 20 minutes, and then yeah, Laura Palmer and pretty much her day-to-day leading up to her death. It focuses on Laura Palmer's deterioration of her mental health and trying to cope with the ongoing trauma in her life. I'm not gonna get into too many spoilers other than Bob obviously being a part of it and the death of Laura Palmer. It's visceral. It's sad, and at the same time beautifully shot. Gorgeous to look at. But it's genuinely one of the hardest things that I've had to watch, because seeing this high school girl, like 16, 17 years old, truly going through some of the hardest things someone could ever go through. It deals with like her using drugs to cope, prostitution to cope, and her trying not to drag those around her down with her. And it's truly like, you know, there's a cocaine, Laura and Bobby, and there's a murder, and, you know, it goes into James and Laura's love for each other, and just like, James, he wants to help her, but Laura, there's a part of her that doesn't want to be helped, but wants to be helped, and it all ties into, like, season 3 as well, with some of the things, and yeah, like, all these revelations happening, and then her own untimely death. It's truly tragic to watch. But again, the style, you know, the actress that plays Laura Palmer, man, she can scream queen like no other. Style is fantastic. It's heartbreaking. It's hard to watch, but again, one of the best things that David Lynch has ever done. I truly love Fire Walk With Me. So let's get into some of the other aspects of the show and the movie. The cinematography and the filmmaking of the TV series and Fire Walk With Me, all of it's fantastic, including the music. The music it's what makes Twin Peaks. It's amazing. You'll have these songs stuck in your head forever. I own the original Twin Peaks on vinyl, and I just recently bought Fire Walk With Me on disc. And because it's one of those things, I just want to own them physically. So let's just get into this. Okay, my overall kind of like rating of this. Season 1 is absolutely incredible to watch. It's great television, and to me it holds up still to this day. Season 2 is fantastic up till we find out who the killer is, and then it just gets bad. It's really bad, hard to watch. I almost gave up. And then the last episode, I would say the last 2 or 3 episodes of season 2 pulled me back in. Season 3 altogether is slow, really slow, meandering, but expanding on the world building and just coming back to these characters after so many years. I thoroughly enjoyed season 3. It has a very weak conclusion, and it's almost like they were possibly, I'm not saying that it was going to happen, but it's almost like it was set up to continue, and it just didn't. You know, David Lynch passed away, so I don't know. And then Fire Walk With Me is hands down David Lynch's best film. In the context of Twin Peaks, I think it truly expands, extends, and makes me feel a lot more attached to the character of Laura Palmer and all the other characters that you see. Ultimately, if I had to rate Twin Peaks 1, 2, 3, Fire Walk With Me, it would be a solid 5 out of 5. Even with my gripes, and there are some, like I said, season 2, most of it completely unwatchable, but the parts that work absolutely fucking work, and I thoroughly enjoy watching it. I just finished season 3 last Sunday, and I'm already ready to start watching the series again, to pick up on some of the things that I missed. I thoroughly love everything here, minus my gripes. 5 out of 5 though. Definitely check out Twin Peaks. I mean, you could find the whole box set, including Fire Walk With Me, at Walmart for like $70. They're all Blu-ray. There's a couple of 4Ks, like bonus features. It's hard to pass up. To me, it's David Lynch's best anything he's ever done was Twin Peaks. So, 5 out of 5. Check it out. All right, I don't want to wear this fucking suit anymore. Why did I even do this for you? Nobody even cares!